Have you ever noticed what really happens the moment you stop chasing someone? Not blocking them, not explaining yourself, just stopping. Because something strange starts to shift, and most people never understand why it works so powerfully. Here's the part nobody tells you. When you stop sending the extra text, stop checking if they watched your story, stop reminding them you exist, your absence doesn't go unnoticed, but not for the reason you think, and we'll get to that in a second. Most people believe moving on requires action, a conversation, closure, a final message. But that belief is exactly why they stay stuck, because silence doesn't work on emotions, it works on ego, and ego cannot stand unanswered gaps. You don't need to delete someone to detach. You don't need to prove you're over them. You just need to stop feeding the connection. When energy stops flowing, the bond doesn't explode. It quietly weakens, and that's far more unsettling. Here's why this matters. Most people think closure comes from talking things out, but closure actually comes from control. Control over where your attention goes and what you refuse to chase anymore. When you stop responding from the version of you that needed their validation, something clicks. Not for you, for them, because now they can't pull your emotions on demand. And that's when the real reaction begins. Every person who loses access to you goes through the same 3 phases. First, nothing. They don't notice. They assume you'll come back. Then, curiosity. They wonder why you've gone quiet. And finally, impact, because absence echoes louder than effort ever did. This is when they start checking your page again, replaying how available you used to be, remembering the consistency they didn't value when it was free. And that's the moment the lesson lands. You never had to explain why you walked away. Distance explains it better than words ever could. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They confuse detachment with anger. But detachment isn't cold, it's clarity. It's the moment you stop trying to be understood by someone who never listened in the first place. It's not punishment, it's peace. You don't need revenge. You don't need attention. You don't even need to be seen. You just need to move differently. When you focus so deeply on your own growth that your absence becomes undeniable, something happens they can't ignore. Nothing hits harder than watching someone glow in silence after you lost access to them. So no, you don't block them. You don't beg. You don't break yourself trying to be remembered. You move on quietly, and you let the shift speak for you. Because the truth is, you never asked for too much. You were just giving it to the wrong person. Let your peace do the talking. Let your silence remind them what they took for granted. And by the time they finally understand it, you won't need closure anymore. You'll already be gone.